Alright, in this video I am going to be showing you how to print outlines onto watercolor paper to be able to paint in later. You will need a pad of watercolor paper. This pad of paper is of paper that is 140 pounds, which means it's a fairly thick paper. For comparison, a cardstock paper is about 80 pounds. I also have a piece of regular printer paper that is the size that will go through my printer. I have a pencil and I have a pair of scissors. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of paper out of my pad. There we go. And then there's going to be a slightly different texture on the front of the pad than the back of the pad. It really doesn't matter which one you paint on. I'll just put a little dot in the corner on the back of my pad so I know that that's what I want to be the back, because I want to use what was originally the front, but you really don't have to if you don't care. And then I'm going to put my printer paper on top of my watercolor paper. And I'm just going to line it up with one of the corners, the bottom edge, the side edge, and then there's going to be a little extra watercolor paper over here and up at the top. It can be the right, like mine, in the top, or you can do it on the left and the bottom, just as long as your paper's in the corner. Then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to trace around the edge of my paper. And there, I traced my paper's outline. I can put that paper to the side and my pencil to the side. Then I'm just going to take some scissors and cut this out. And so now I have a piece of watercolor paper that is the same size, 8.5 by 11 in this case, as my regular printer paper. Now, because I want to make sure that I print on that front texture that I told you about earlier, I'm going to do a test print with a regular piece of paper first. And to make sure that I know which way to put my paper in, I'm going to mark the bottom by just writing bottom, and then I'll mark the top by writing top. It's time to go to my printer. So my next step will be taking the paper out of my printer tray that's already in there. Put that to the side. And since I'm doing a test print to see which side my paper is going to be my picture is going to be printing on my paper, I'm going to stick my test page in, making sure that it says bottom at the bottom, to make sure I know which way to put my paper in when I do my nice watercolor paper. So now I'm going to open the file. I'm going to use my iPad. I'm just going to go to my files. I had another file open earlier. I'm going to, looks like I'm right there. So I'm going to be opening this butterfly test print PDF. And now I have my PDF open. I'm printing out 2 butterflies so that I can do 2 half-sheet size paintings. And I'm going to send that to my printer, just like I would any document I wanted to print. And I don't want color. I'm going to do just black and white. If your printer has a setting that you can choose thicker paper, be sure to choose the thickest paper that you can. Mine doesn't have that setting in here, so I'm just going to be printing from here, and I'll just push print. Now I have my paper tray open again, and I'm putting my nice watercolor paper in with that dot facing up so it will print on the side that I want it to. And you can, I don't know if you can see the dot very well, it's right there in the corner. I'm going to close this up and go ahead and follow the same instructions I gave you before for printing. Here is my final image on watercolor paper. It's ready to be stretched. That's the next step, and I'll show you guys in another video how to do that. Stretching it will just keep it from getting wrinkly. And now I will be able to
paint my watercolors right over the top of this, and I will be able to print it out as many times as I want. If I decide that I don't like the first way I painted it, I can always make another, and that's one of the great advantages of being able to print on watercolor paper. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more art tips.